This man never expected that, by moving into a nearby shrine to focus on his studies, he would accidentally end up with 3 beautiful wives. Uryu, an orphan, aimed to get into Kyoto University's medical school and moved into a shrine for convenience. However, upon arrival, the caretaker was absent. Hearing noises from a room, Uryu approached and was unexpectedly greeted with a face wash squirted by 3 unclothed young women. Bleeding from the nose, Uryu watched as the girls quickly shut the door, dressed, and then came out to confront him. They were the shrine maidens, 3 sisters: Yae, a 20-year-old college student; Asahi, a 14-year-old middle schooler; and Yuna, a 17-year-old high schooler with a tsundere attitude, strongly opposing the idea of Uryu, a vigorous high school boy, becoming part of their family. Uryu had no desire to play a familial role. He just wanted a place to study. Fortunately, the eldest sister Yae warmly prepared a room for him, albeit just shoving clutter into the closet and nearly getting injured, which Uryu prevented by stepping in to help. Yuna walked in on this scene, flustered and throwing salt to ward off evil. Before Uryu could settle down, Asahi appeared, attempting to flirt with him and suggesting they grow closer, only to be rebuffed, leading her to doubt his masculinity and snoop through his luggage. Uryu tried to stop her but slipped, landing on top of Asahi just as Yuna walked in again. Studying until 1 a.m., Uryu couldn't finish his study plan and went to wash his face. Noticing a light in a room, he found Yuna asleep and sneezing. As he attempted to cover her with a blanket, she woke up and struggled, just as Yae and Asahi walked in on an inappropriate scene. On his first day, Uryu had already gotten involved with all 3 shrine maidens, and no one believed his explanations. Curious, Uryu asked why Yuna was staying up late making amulets, which she intended for shrine visitors as part of her duties. The sisters removed their red hair ties, praying devoutly with the identical bands, a keepsake from their mother. Although their mother was gone, their memories remained connected. Yuna asked Uryu why he was up so late, and upon hearing his study reasons, was shocked since his ambition was to enter a prestigious medical school. The sisters mentioned that the shrine also honored a deity of academic success, and that a meteor shower might soon grant miracles. Yuna, hopeful like a child believing in fairy tales, was disillusioned by Uryu, who debunked the meteor shower with science and criticized their naive beliefs. Yuna's immediate wish was to kick him out. In fact, Uryu firmly believed that only hard work could change fate. He thought talismans and prayers were just tricks for children. Just then, he noticed a foreign little girl in front of Yuna. The two couldn't speak each other's language, so Uryu stepped forward to help. He explained the situation to the girl in fluent English. Delighted, the girl happily accepted the talisman and thanked them. After the guest left, Uryu mentioned he could teach Yuna English. Rarely candid, Yuna thanked Uryu, but just then a gust of wind blew, and a bird snatched Yuna's hair tie, a keepsake from their mother. The 3 sisters searched the entire shrine, but couldn't find it. However, they weren't panicked, because they believed the deity would guide them. Uryu couldn't stand to listen. Such an important item deserved more concern. He bluntly shattered their illusion, saying no amount of prayer would fulfill their wishes. Wishes weren't granted by gods, but by oneself. Yuna immediately disagreed, believing that the gods would never ignore their prayers. The tension between Uryu and Yuna, which had just eased, became strained again. Yuna also repeated that Uryu was not suited for this place. That night, Uryu tried to study in his room but couldn't concentrate. Later, Yae and Asahi came over but found the room empty except for a photo on the desk of Uryu and his mother in a hospital. The sisters recalled their grandfather mentioning Uryu's mother had died when he was young, leaving him to grow up in an orphanage. The photo showed Uryu holding several talismans, likely praying to the gods daily, yet his wishes remained unfulfilled. This made him believe in self-reliance. This realization eased Yae and Asahi's worries about Uryu and Yuna's relationship, seeing their similar traits of being indirect and overly nice. Unknown to them, Yuna was listening at the door. Meanwhile, Uryu ran alone to the back mountain searching for the red string, returning disheveled without success. Remembering what the sisters had said during the day, he tried praying, hoping to find the important item. Yuna arrived just in time to see this and stood by Uryu, commending him for voicing his wish as it let the deities hear. They apologized to each other for their previous attitudes. Yuna, still haughty, acknowledged that Uryu's slight respect for the gods made his stay at the shrine barely acceptable. Just then, Yae and Asahi joined them, and they all returned together. On their way back, they encountered the meteor shower Yuna had hoped for. Even the scientifically minded Uryu was stunned by the beauty, although he soon realized it was just the effect of the meteor shower coinciding perfectly with cherry blossoms. The sisters argued that the scene before them was indeed a miracle. Unable to deny it, Uryu watched as the red string, carried away by a bird, quietly slipped down, landing perfectly on Yuna's head. Early the next morning, the shrine's manager announced some shocking news. Uryu was to become their family's son-in-law through marriage and inherit the Kanjin shrine. All four were taken aback as they had never heard of such a plan. Moreover, Uryu aimed to be a doctor, not a shrine inheritor. The old man reassured him, saying that being a shrine priest could be a side job. But that wasn't the point. Uryu had no intention of marrying into the family. The old man then played his trump card, mentioning he had considered transferring Uryu to a high school with a higher acceptance rate. Uryu immediately knelt and accepted, willing to do anything for a chance to attend the University of Tokyo. He assumed the marriage talk was just the old man's bluster. However, the three sisters didn't see it that way. None of them wanted to marry and decided to subtly drive Uryu away. They started by assigning him the cooking duties, leaving only a few ingredients in the fridge. To their surprise, Uryu prepared a delicious meal, leaving no room for complaints. After cooking, he was eager to return to his studies, but was tasked with laundry next, including the sisters' underwear. Uryu didn't mind and even inquired why a pink set wasn't complete, showing unexpected familiarity with the task. After washing and neatly folding the laundry, it was clear nothing could deter him. At this point, Yuna had to resort to her ultimate weapon, asking Uryu to clean Yae's room. Upon opening the door, Uryu nearly collapsed in despair. It was no place for a human cluttered with discarded paint, as Yae was an art student. Unexpectedly, Uryu managed to clean the room spotlessly, making Yae and Asahi reluctant to lose such a handy helper. They both urged Yuna to let him stay. However, Uryu no longer wanted to stay, as his main purpose at the shrine was to study, and these chores left him no time for books. His goal was clear: to enter the medical department of the University of Tokyo. So, he decided to leave to pursue his dream and packed his bags. The three sisters couldn't leave him alone and secretly followed him. Uryu continued to study even on the train, heading to a remote rural area, eventually entering an old house. Yuna thought he had to live in such a dilapidated house after being expelled, but the next second, Uryu appeared behind her, startling her into throwing salt. A group of children surrounded him, assessing the three sisters. Then, a beautiful older sister appeared. This was Mahiru, the caregiver and doctor at the children's home called Miracle Garden. It was she who had contacted the sisters' grandfather to arrange Uryu's stay. Mahiru cheerfully noted Uryu's adorable traits, mentioning he had always mimicked her and aspired to attend Kyoto University. Before she could reveal the real reason, Uryu interrupted, insisting he would not return to the shrine, only to be met with a direct threat of physical force by Mahiru. Meanwhile, two children showed Uryu paper cranes they had folded. Uryu's childhood friend Tsuruyama also came over. The children were folding origami cranes for their family members, as many were sent here because their relatives were too ill or injured to care for them. They all folded paper cranes together in hopes of blessing their loved ones. However, Uryu felt it was a waste of time. Yuna couldn't stand such talk, and decisively joined the children in folding. Unfortunately, Yae was too wild, Asahi too clumsy, and Yuna too slow, causing the children to prefer Uryu's help. Uryu ended up efficiently folding many cranes for them. After finishing, the children worriedly asked if the cranes could really heal their mothers. This reminded Uryu of his own mother, whom he had also folded many cranes for, though she ultimately passed away. Holding a paper crane, Uryu comforted the children by saying that doctors would surely work harder seeing these cranes, so they shouldn't worry. Although not good at expressing his emotions, Uryu was always there to support those in sorrow. Mahiru and Tsuruyama spoke highly of him, prompting Mahiru to earnestly request that the three sisters take good care of Uryu. In the evening, Mahiru asked Uryu why he ran back, and he shared his experience at the shrine, emphasizing the lack of time to study. However, Mahiru knew Uryu was capable since childhood but struggled with social interactions, possibly feeling unwelcome. Yet the fact that the sisters had followed him proved he wasn't as disliked as he thought. Mahiru challenged him, asking if he was the type to give up over minor issues, which triggered memories of his childhood desire to help Mahiru with the laundry, though she preferred doing everything herself. Their conversation was overheard by the sisters, who suspected Uryu had a crush on Mahiru. Blushing, Uryu clarified he only saw Mahiru as a benefactor and apologized to the sisters for his stubbornness, promising to handle whatever was needed, making the sisters feel guilty for overburdening him. They decided to share the household chores more evenly, finally accepting Uryu as family. However, they still struggled with tasks, often leaving Uryu to handle everything. To deepen their bond, the old man shockingly suggested that Uryu and each sister go on individual blind dates. Uryu was set to go on dates with 3 beautiful girls in turns. He, focused only on his studies, planned to get it over with quickly. However, upon seeing Asahi all dressed up, he couldn't move. It was clear Asahi was enjoying herself. The old man left them alone for the day. Uryu had Asahi all to himself. Asahi flirted openly, pulling at her clothes and confessing her long-held desire to do this with Uryu. Uryu quickly covered his eyes, unable to look, but Asahi changed quickly, putting on sunglasses and inviting Uryu to go running. The date was unexpectedly healthy, surprising Uryu. He had thought Asahi was the most carefree and playful of the sisters, but the younger sister proved him wrong. After running for 5 hours, he felt drained and staggered back to the shrine. Just as he was about to take a bath, he bumped into Asahi, fresh from her bath and naked, as she liked the open feeling and didn't close the door. Uryu called her a pervert and went straight to sleep, exhausted. He woke at 5 in the morning, having not studied at all. To his horror, Asahi was still there, not ready to end the date, and invited him for a morning run. They went to the storeroom to find jogging shoes. The cramped, eerie storeroom seemed perfect for a lucky pervert scenario, like getting locked in together. Just as Asahi spoke, a gust of wind helpfully shut and locked the door. The usually composed Asahi, who had been teasing Uryu, panicked. Realizing she might be claustrophobic, Uryu asked her about her fear. He comforted her by patting her head and assured her they would be out soon, even letting her hug him to ease her fear. Uryu found scissors and started to remove the wooden boards from a window. By morning, they managed to get out, only to find themselves on the 2nd floor. Uryu, after a moment of silence, bravely jumped down to open the door. As he did, Asahi felt like she saw the light and unusually thanked and apologized to Uryu. Uryu didn't take it to heart, seeing Asahi as a little sister, cute like a child. When Yuna and Yae, her older sisters, arrived and saw Asahi was fine, they were relieved. Asahi returned to her mischievous self, thanking Big Brother Uryu for a memorable night. Poor Uryu's reputation suffered again. Today, Uryu was set to meet Yuna for a date. He prepared mentally before entering, but was surprised by Yuna's beautiful outfit and unusually gentle demeanor. Yuna asked about his interests, and upon hearing he liked reading, praised him as serious and diligent, making Uryu wonder if she was possessed. Then a cat emerged from the bushes, and Yuna quickly gestured for it to go back. Uryu felt something was off and confronted Yuna back inside, only to be pushed down, her clothes slipping off her, more daring than Asahi's act the day before. Uryu barely resisted. Yuna's intent was to make a move and thus secure the shrine's future, but Uryu wasn't the type to take advantage, so Yuna dressed and left. Yae and Asahi, who had been watching secretly, came out to explain Yuna's haste. They all wanted to preserve the shrine. If one sister had to marry Uryu, Yuna was willing to sacrifice herself for her siblings. Knowing this, Yae and Asahi were worried. Uryu thought it over, and the next morning urged Yuna to change and go on the date, leading her directly to a cat cafe. Determined not to be swayed, Yuna couldn't resist the kittens and cuddled them, but soon asked to leave, prioritizing her mission for the shrine. She thought Uryu would understand, as he was also dedicated to becoming a doctor for the sake of the children at his institution. Uryu didn't deny it, but reminded Yuna that her sisters were also important. So, to avoid worrying Yae and Asahi, relaxing like this once in a while isn't too much. Even he declared a complete break from studying today, opting to thoroughly enjoy the cat cafe instead. In the end, Yuna bought 3 souvenirs, planning to visit again with her sisters next time. Unbeknownst to her, Uryu had also become hooked. Studying is no match for the joy of petting cats. To Uryu's surprise, Yuna also bought him a small cat charm as a thank you gift for today. Yuna, smiling, said she had a lot of fun, which initially scared Uryu, thinking she was acting odd again. He was relieved only when Yuna started to get angry. On the 3rd day, Uryu was supposed to have a matchmaking meeting with Yae, but she didn't show up. He couldn't wait and went directly to her room, only to find the eldest sister changing her clothes, causing him to nosebleed. Oblivious, Yae apologized and asked Uryu to wait a bit more. However, after waiting outside the door for an hour with no sign of her, he blindfolded himself and opened the door again, only to find the room empty. He quickly informed Yuna and Asahi, and they all started searching for Yae, who, unbeknownst to them, was calmly drawing on the steps by herself. When Uryu found her, she was puzzled, then remembered she was supposed to have a matchmaking meeting with him that day. Seeing a half-finished painting of a Tori in Yae's room, Uryu guessed she might have gone to Inari Shrine for research, and sure enough, he found her there. Uryu wasn't easily fooled. Something as important as a matchmaking meeting wouldn't just be forgotten by Yae. He asked her why she skipped the meeting. Yae, in turn, asked what he thought, but since they were already there, they decided to have the meeting at the shrine. They enjoyed their time at Inari Shrine, and Yae bought an amulet as an apology gift for Uryu. Uryu was baffled, unable to figure out what the eldest sister was thinking. Suddenly, Yae turned around and asked him whom he wanted to marry. Asahi, although mature for her age, shows her childish charm occasionally. Yuna, despite being a tsundere, also reveals her cute side from time to time. Of course, Uryu could come to like this elder sister. Unexpectedly, Uryu's face turned red immediately, and the words he tried to speak lacked confidence. He was about to say he wouldn't marry them when he missed a step and fell down the stairs. Yae quickly grabbed the amulet's string, but it snapped. In that instant, Uryu's mind flashed through his past and even saw a future where he was accepted into Kyoto University's medical school, and his eventual spouse turned out to be all three sisters? Uryu suddenly woke up to find himself unknowingly having fallen asleep on the desk. Was it all a dream? But then, what about the amulet?